Hello, everyone. How's it going? We are back again this week. It's Kendall and Clay. We're here to break down some film for you here with BF Film Session Live. So thank you for everyone that's here. I see we've already got some in the chat here. Richard, thank you for joining us, man. It's always good. We can always count on you to show up if no one else does, so I appreciate that. So today's topic of discussion is Greg Rousseau. And I guess we'll kind of start out with first impressions a little bit. When you were going through his stuff, what were you seeing? Kind of at a from a taking a step back point of view. What kind of stuff were you seeing when you were watching Rousseau? You're muted, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate that. The first thing I noticed, and I think everyone should notice, is length for days, rawness and length. He's honestly, he's got some refinement to his game. Like, he does have some good hand use. He's got heavy hands, but outside of that, he's just winning with length all the time, length and athleticism. So it's interesting. I'm happy that we're doing a deep dive on him. We're gonna try to break down like all the players that the Bills drafted, but I like that we're going into Rousseau, and I like that the BF supporters want to see Rousseau. So yeah, I'm hyped to hop into it.
Yeah, I'm excited too, and I'm glad that he was the one that was voted, just because I like, I want to know more about him too. So I'm glad that we were able to do it. But yeah, length and strength, man. The dude is big. He's long. He's got a lot of athleticism, like you said. And those were things that really stuck out to me as well. When, we'll see plays that show off pretty much every positive thing that he brings to the table is going to get talked about today, based on what we did. So I think we're going to start out with your video today. You want to jump right in? Is there anything else you want to talk about before we get right into the film?
Do you want to talk about his RAS score and how people were kind of like digging him for having like a 7+ RAS score and adding weight? Because I just think it's interesting. And also, I want to get your thoughts on before we jump into the tape, if you thought his RAS score was indicative of what you saw on the tape or vice versa. Because his poor metrics were the shuttle, the 3-cone vertical, and bench press. But I'm sure that bench press was difficult with his 34.5-inch arms.
Yeah. The bar goes up and down a lot higher for those tall guys. I mean, you can see it a little bit at times. It's at times he does look a little sluggish, and like he isn't really able to move around to like. Sometimes it does look like he's not able to make those quick cuts. There's other times where you'll see him make a super athletic play where it looks like it's like, are you sure he ran that 3-cone drill in that time? Because he'll read the play, track the ball, and then like shoot off in a different direction and make a play. So there are definitely some truth to it. And I think, some guys just don't test well. Some guys aren't sprinters that are used to being down in a 3-point stance. And really, the start of pretty much all of those, except for the vertical, which how can you blame him? He's almost, what was he 260? I think.
Yeah, he can probably touch the rim without barely jumping, anyways.
Exactly.
So it's like I'm sure this guy. Yeah, he's probably not really like training to get a better vertical because he doesn't really need it.
Yeah.
So I just think that he probably could have tested a little bit better, but I mean. 77th percentile for defensive ends since 1987. That's sign me up.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take that as well. I'll go over real quick because I did take notes on him a while ago as well when we first drafted him.
Shoot, yeah.
And these are I haven't read these since I wrote them, so I hope they don't suck. But here are the things that I saw when I initially started to first watch him. I saw him getting triple teamed once. That was pretty funny. He had good contain at times. I think he does a pretty good job of when that is his assignment. He gets contained well. We'll talk about this one a little bit later. He gets his strides are huge. He has such big legs, and he takes massive strides when he's going anywhere. He can drive back double teams. And then I think everything else we'll probably touch on here as we go through the tape a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Richard Rush here saying, let's put this 3-4-5 tech defensive end bullshit to bed. I don't know if you saw Kevin yesterday on the Rico report, but he's
not.
He's bashing Basham and Rousseau for being 3-4-5 techs.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
First of all,
You want to talk about it?
If the Dolphins had drafted Greg Rousseau, Kevin would be, walking around the streets talking about how good he is. So, and he is a Miami fan. He's a Miami University fan as well. So it was Kevin that you said that was saying that, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Kevin he does what he does. He wants to get us riled up. I haven't taken a look at Basham too much, but I don't understand what's the issue if he can play outside and he can play inside.
So he's saying that they're so perfectly. He even threw Epinesa into this as well. They're so perfectly sculpted as that like tweener. Are they someone that can reduce down into the 3-tech mold, or are they someone that can just rush off the edge? And that 5-tech is the perfect spot for people that have that kind of 4-3 flexibility. So that's what he was saying. He just finds it curious that the Bills are going all in on players with that kind of flexibility and versatility. I think it means something just based on schematics. I think that's the kind of edge rusher the Bills want. I don't think it's probably better suited for a 5-tech defensive end, but who cares? They probably want them to be good, setting the edge on the run. So it's about how you want to run your 4-3. So I think it goes both ways.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with it, to be honest. The fact that, and I wouldn't even put AJ Epinesa into that as much.
I wouldn't either.
He dropped a bunch of weight. He got a little faster. And I think he's going to end up being more of a speed rush kind of a guy over a power guy. I think is probably what they're going to try to have him start to specialize in a little more. So I don't know. I don't know if AJ, if you can lump him in with that as well. But I mean, Rousseau and Basham are versatile. You can have 3 defensive ends on the field at one time, and then a 1-tech or a 3-tech if it's a light set. If they're running 10 personnel or something like that, and it's a light set. If you want to put your 4 guys out there and they're all good pass rushers, I don't see any problem with that at all, because any single one of those can take up a double team.
3rd and 10s with Ed Oliver, AJ Epinesa, Gregory Rousseau, and Carlos Basham. Any of them can play. Well, obviously Oliver's dead set in the middle, but any of those other 3 are playing either the edge or defensive tackle, and it would be a nightmare as a quarterback. I don't want to be a quarterback with those 4 guys rushing me.
No, absolutely not. Especially, with that kind of a down and distance, it gives them extra time to get there, likely too. So, I don't have any problem with them being versatile as players. Maybe they didn't get as much experience being able to play in that outside role. Excuse me. So maybe some of them will have to, maybe those guys are going to have to learn a little bit more technique wise in order to get where they need to be. But I think that versatility just adds to it as opposed to kind of taking away from it.
Agreed.
All right. You want to get right into it then?
Yeah, let's hop into it. So the first one, while you're pulling it up, I broke down his game against Pitt. I think he had a couple sacks this game. I think I tried to grab all those, but I also wanted to, make sure we could get some of the poorer plays in here too, just to give you a well-rounded experience on who Rousseau is. So play number 1. Okay. Play number 1 is a perfect little introduction to his athleticism. This was like, look at this, 14 minutes in the first quarter. This was like one of the first plays I saw. And he's just chilling on the edge, 2-point stance. Oh, I'm going to pick up this running back on this wheel route. And he doesn't make the play, but the fact that he was in phase and had an opportunity to make that play is really all that I care about. I'm not expecting him to make a play on this ball. I'm not. What about you?
Yeah, I felt the same way. And the fact that he's even able to drop back, take this running back, and then stay with him all the way down the field. I mean, he used to play safety, right? I mean, he was a safety in high school, so you'd expect that, or at least hope that he'd be able to do this kind of stuff. But he's hanging with this guy, and I'm not sure how fast that little man is there, who's probably still like not that small. He's just standing next to Greg Rousseau. But I have no problem with this play at all. It would have been nice if he made the play, but the fact that he kept up was cool enough.
Yeah, that's really all I cared about and why I tossed it in here. Just it's a perfect display of his athleticism just to kick us off. Yeah,
definitely. You want me to jump to the next one here?
Yeah. All right. So this next one, this is actually where I take the most have the most gripes and grievances with his game. I actually think he gets pushed back by double teams a little bit too much. However, I've only seen the 2 games we broke down. Yeah, he's got length. He's got length for days, but it seems like if someone's on his shoulders and the other guy's double teaming him, pushing his torso, he's just overmatched. He doesn't have the raw power yet to really sustain those kind of double teams. We do have a clip later that will show he can definitely bull rush through some double teams and fight through double teams, but I saw too many instances of really this exact play happening where he was just getting pushed back. And yeah, that was my biggest concern, because you hear about how he can reduce down and play 3 tech or just defensive tackle in that area. And if you're playing defensive tackle, you are more susceptible to get double team blocked. So it wasn't encouraging to see this rep.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And I think the thing for me was the inconsistency with it. And there were times like this where he's just kind of getting bullied a little bit. And some of that might come back to technique a little bit, but ultimately you're going to need the strength and to be able to just kind of anchor yourself and not get pushed back at all. I mean, the play does get blown up. It's not really doesn't really have anything to do with what he did. Is the corner blitz. But yeah, I definitely think that there was some inconsistency against the double teams. But also, I mean, I don't have too much of an issue with it all the time. If he gets pushed back by a double team every once in a while, that's not the end of the world to me anyway.
He's a defensive end.
He's a defensive end. I mean, he's not a one tech who's supposed to be like, eating these double teams and pushing everybody back. Honestly, he probably would be just as good as any of the guys that the Bills tried to force into that one tech position last year. I think he'd probably be just as good at handling the double team as those guys.
That's a good point here, Richard. It's a good point. He's heavier now. Probably has more strength now to sustain those kind of
That
blocks.
is true, actually. Yeah, I forgot that he kind of bulked up a little bit there.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my biggest concern. But at the same, one of my bigger concerns. But yeah, he's a defensive end first, so I'm not going to get too caught up in that. Play number 3 is another display of athleticism. He's dropping into this shallow zone here. He identifies that shallow crosser, and he steps with him, takes him away, and then I believe the quarterback's Pickett or something. I don't know his name. And he tries to scramble, and Rousseau quickly gets there, quickly shuffles out of coverage, and he fires straight to the quarterback. Actually gets a sack on this play. He doesn't allow the quarterback to get back to the line of scrimmage. So I thought this was a very it was a good display of athleticism, but it was also a great football IQ play.
Yeah, I really like this play. Again, display of athleticism. It's good to know that he's at least comfortable with dropping back into coverage, because Sean McDermott does like to do that in his defense, and Leslie Frazier will call those plays where the defensive ends are dropping back into coverage like that. So I'm glad that he at least has done this before, has a little bit of experience with it, and he's done pretty well in it. I mean, he's a massive dude. So when you see that guy covering a zone, it's like, I probably want to not throw to that zone. But yeah, I don't know if it was good communication here with his linebacker. But when he came up, the guy who was behind him was covered up, so he was safe to go up. I'm not sure if he knew that he had other help for that guy or not. But yeah, he's watching the zone. He sees the quarterback, and once the quarterback's all alone and running toward him, instincts kicking at that point. And it's probably the last thing I'd want to see if I was a quarterback, is Gregory Rousseau running full speed directly at me. So
yeah, that's definitely one I would have liked to have the all 22 on, because you're definitely right. Like passing off that shallow crosser, it would have been nice to see if I think that's number 55 had said anything, gestured anything like that. So you can see that Rousseau has some sort of decision-making power there. Yeah, but all we can see is he just makes a decision. And hey, it's the right decision. So that's all we can evaluate it as.
Right. And the thing is, the reason I brought up how, the guy was covered up, because if he leaves that zone and that's his zone, and then the quarterback just dumps it right off to the zone that he just vacated, that's not a good play. You need to make sure that you stay in your zone. I mean, hopefully you hope that he can get his hands in there and block it away, because he's so big. So he might be able to get away with it more than some others.
That's a very good point. He might be able to get away with that exact scenario, the vacating the zone because of a scrambling quarterback. If he's going to blitz that quarterback late because he's scrambling, if he just throws his arms up, he might disrupt that passing lane. So he's a unique prospect. He really is.
Yeah.
Play 4 here. To me, I think this aligns with what you were saying about containment. I don't know if you were saying containment to the run game, but I notice it. And this is one of my favorite things about him, especially going into the modern NFL that we're in with all these running quarterbacks. His ability to understand that he can't go past the quarterback. Once he sees the quarterback climbing the pocket, he is so quick to disengage from his blocker. And I mean, the amount of shoestring tackles that are in this guy's highlight tape is incredible. It just shows his length. I swear, like at least 10 of the 15 and a half sacks he had, or whatever, 15 sacks he had, are shoestring tackles. His length is insane. But the main thing I want to point out is the pass rushing depth. He rarely will rush past the quarterback. And that's something I think the Bills are really starting to hammer home with their defensive ends, because, you know, when you play Lamar Jackson 2 years in a row, that's something you have to maintain the gap integrity when you're pass rushing, because if you get too wide, there's a clear gap. The B gap is wide open to scramble through. So I love that. I love this play.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of his signature type of a thing where he is very good at that, at finding the right depth to push to take the lineman to, the offensive lineman to, before cutting back in. So, you know, it's kind of what he likes to do is push his guy back into, you know, kind of back behind the quarterback, so that then he can then disengage and go right into the pocket. And he does it a lot. You know, a lot of his sacks and a lot of his good pass rush wins is that exact type of a move where he just, you know, he either gets enough speed to go around the outside, or he uses a little bit of power to push that tackle back a little bit. But then he's really good at, once he's at that right spot, disengaging and then getting into the pocket. And this is a very athletic play, like you said, and that length comes into play there. And the shoestring tackles, some of them, I think there's even a better one later in this, in your clips here. But yeah, his length shows on these tackles, and he's good at being able to, even when he's far away. Oh, we got another clip on this one. Yeah, even when he's far away, he has that ability to dive and just clip a foot, and sometimes that's all you need to make the tackle.
Got big hands too. He got that grip strength.
Right.
So the next play, it's interesting because I just raved about how great he is at his pass rush lane discipline. This next play is the exact opposite. And this was probably the only one I saw him do this with, where he just gets way too deep and wide and just allows a clear running lane. So yeah, this is the one rep where I really had a problem with that. Because he's clearly not the bendy kind of pass rusher or defensive end that's trying to, you know, corner that edge and get to the quarterback that way. He's kind of just trying to bully that tackle and push the tackle into the quarterback's lap. So that was my concern with this play. However, then you could, you know, twist it on it, put it on its head, and then say, hey, look at his motor. Like, he's still trying to get after the quarterback, like playing catch up here. But that's really the only positive I can find from this play.
Yeah, and the amount of plays that I marked down that say the word effort in them.
Oh my God.
When watching him, he has an incredibly high motor. His effort is outstanding. And this is another example of that. But I do agree, he does get a little bit too far. The play call is a little weird. I don't know if we can credit anybody else for, you know, contributing to leaving that wide open gap. I mean, 94, kind of, he's coming inside instead of going outside. Mm-hmm. This is a linebacker. It could even be a safety. It could be a safety. This where is he? Number
standing
5.
up. I think it's
I think it's this guy right in here. He's not a very big dude. He's a pretty small guy, and he gets really bullied. So that, you know, that also contributes. But he definitely does over pursue. I think, you know, maybe in that case you think Rousseau's trying to go for that reach across, use that length to get the ball when that quarterback goes back to throw the pass. But yeah, the effort's there, and you know, it's hard to say how much of that lane was supposed to be filled by him, and if that was the right decision for him to take it to the back of the quarterback.
For sure. Let's hit Paulie Cruz super chat here. Thank you, Paulie Cruz, once again. Apparently a loyal listener. What types of D-line scheme options does Rousseau and maybe Basham give the Bills that they didn't have last year? Clay, you got any ideas?
Yes, in my mind, it's versatility is kind of the big one where it's the most obvious thing. But I think they're going to be able to run a lot more stunts on that front. And to be honest, I'm not sure how much they ran it last year, the Bills. But the guys that they brought in, you can have one of them line up in a 3-tech spot or a 5-tech and have the other one out wide in a 9, and have them switch, or, if it's a 3 and a 5 or a 3 and a 9, then you can have your guys switch and do like, a cross move. And both of those guys are able to do it, whether Basham's on the outside or Rousseau's on the outside. If they go to the inside, they could probably take up a double team just fine. Or, if the guys want to go and block the outside guy, and they're against one man, they could probably both push him back and get a decent rush on it. So I think the versatility, but also I think it's going to give McDermott and Frazier a lot of freedom in the kind of more complex things that you can really only do when your entire offensive line is athletic and versatile. So I'm excited to see what kind of stuff they do with that.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly where my head is. I don't think I can't fact check you for sure, but I don't think they did a hell of a lot of stunts last year.
Didn't feel like it, at least.
Right. But yeah, if you have two guys, if you interchangeably Rousseau and Basham, one's inside, one's outside, you can stunt, and both are equally as good as at rushing from the inside as they are from rushing on the outside. So you're keeping the opposing offensive line guessing. You have no idea which pass rush lane they're going to commit to. Last year, I'm sure we were, if we're not running stunts, we were probably pretty predictable. It's just like, oh, okay, this guy's coming through this gap, this guy's going through that gap. So this will add a little layer to our defense, and really just the front four. That's all it's adding the layer to. So there's still plenty of other levels of the defense for it to impact. Obviously, how it impacts pass coverage.
Right. Yeah. So I'm excited to see it, and I do think that it adds versatility. So that'll be pretty cool to see what they do with it.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to get your thoughts on this play. This one really baffles me. You can run it now. He was in position. He played it well. He waited for the mesh point on this read option. And, he's got quarterback first, but once he sees that the running back gets it, he should, crash down to go chase down, technique that running back. But once that mesh point, it gets into the running back's hand, it's like he's lost. Like, where is this guy?
Yeah, I don't have an issue with this one. And that's just because I think right here, based on the angle he's at, he might not be able to see the ball here. And I think he is looking at the running back and not the quarter. If he's looking at the quarterback, he knows he doesn't have the ball. But I think he's probably looking at the running back. And so he takes a step, and then he's like, oh, wait, I don't really see the ball. Maybe I should just get the quarterback just in case. That was my thought on it. And that's why I didn't really have a problem on it, just because I think if there was any confusion in his head, stick with the guy that you're assigned to. And in this case, he was assigned to the quarterback. So
here's my problem with that. If that's your theory, if he's assigned to the quarterback, why are his eyes just not on the quarterback? Then he would know that the quarterback doesn't have the ball, and then he can make his decision that way. So right. I don't know. You could twist it both ways. This play, he's lost. Like, you can see, what is he doing? He's getting spun around in the spin cycle, but I mean, it's just one play. It's a read option. He'll get there. That length is going to be huge on read options.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be really nice closing down those running lanes. Yeah, I'm excited to get this guy on the field.
Yeah, and I do think you have a good point with where his eyes are on this play. If his guy's the quarterback, he should be reading the quarterback, because there's no way the running back's going to run his way unless it's the worst counter design of all time. But yeah, his eyes get a little bit lost. It might just he's barely played defensive end though.
Yeah, that's the thing. I want to give him some break here, give him some leash here, but
right.
It just looks bad.
I think it's probably just an instincts thing where it's like, oh, I think he has the ball, I got to go get him. But I'm glad that he was able to catch himself in the middle of it.
Exactly. All right, so play number 7. This is a kind of getting into the run game part. You can see him kind of eat that double team initially. The thing I liked most about this is he eats the double team, and then the tackle kind of peels off of him, and he's just one-on-one with the tight end, and you can see him like bullying that tight end. He could have gotten a little like overzealous and just kept pushing that tight end, but he decided to sustain once he was like a yard and a half reestablishing the line of scrimmage. He sustains right there, and then he jumps back and he's right back in the run lane. So I just thought it was a great example of him being able to really stack and shed his blockers, just stack them, hold in that position where he can set the edge, and then shed at the moment he needs to go make that tackle. And I have another clip of him doing that again, but this was the first one, and I thought it popped real nicely.
Yeah, I was a big fan of this play. He got the depth he needed to get. He got past the line of scrimmage, and then right here he just he's straight arming that tight end, and pretty much just kind of like, when you're just like holding your little brother because he's being annoying and you're just kind of holding him off to the side. That's basically what he's doing right there. It's just kind of saying like, I'm going to go make this play. You can go do whatever you want over there. So it was pretty cool to that's kind of an example of that reach, that length, where if he gets you in a proper straight arm, there's not going to be much that you're going to be able to do about it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so play number 8 is another example of that depth of pass rush. Look at that again. Mm-hmm. Again, the length, just making that play. But the key for me on this play is his height and his ability to just kind of see over the opposing blocker. He always has his eyes on the quarterback. There's nothing obstructing his vision. You can see this entire time. Like, he's got his eyes on the quarterback, and the second he's going to climb the pocket, he's shedding that block and he's making the play. So just another example of him winning with like nuance to his pass rush. Not the way you're typically seeing a defensive end win. He's winning in a very nuanced and particular kind of way, but it works. And he's maximizing or optimizing what he has with his length. So yeah, what do you think of this? Another example of him on that pass rush depth example.
Yeah, this was another one where I thought this was like his signature move type of thing, where he gets that depth, he gets to that back of the pocket depth, and then he cuts in right into the middle of the pocket. And teams are going to know that. Teams are going to see it and scheme against it, and they're going to be ready for it for sure. So you can better believe that NFL tackles, at least early on, are going to be able to drive him out way downfield and just pass the quarterback because they know that that's what he wants to do. But I really like this play. The strength in just his right arm. His right arm is really his only point of contact between himself. I want to slow it down a little bit. Between himself and the tackle there. And the strength to drive him backward, and then when he's ready, he just throws him, and it's all just with one hand. So I just thought that was pretty cool, just that display of athleticism and strength, and then to go and extend fully and make the tackle. It's hard to do it if you're not that big. It
really goes to show how valuable length is, because he's really not the strongest guy. Mm-hmm. But if you have people like really reaching to get their hands on you, it makes it harder for them to get leverage and use their functional play strength. So he's just, because he has that length, he's holding people at bay, and they can't get their hands on him, and he can just manipulate them, and he can do whatever he wants. Honestly, I think the key to this kind of, you saying he's got this signature style of this is the way he wins on the edge. That's amazing that we can say this is how he wins off the edge. Just imagine if he develops a swim move, a spin move, a long arm that's like more just kind of traditional bull rush long arming straight into the pocket, things like that. Like, he's doing it in a very I don't even know how to describe it. It's just a very particular kind of way. Imagine what his game could be if he gets those refined skills.
Yeah, and that's another thing where he's so raw that really on these type of plays, all he's relying on is that size and strength just to be able to bully that guy backward and then get to the spot where he wants to be. So I think if he is able to actually learn some of the techniques that he needs to have, and he seems like the kind of guy that's going to be able to do it, it'll be exciting to see how. I have a play coming up, Brian. Keep watching, because there's when we get to my stuff, there's a play specifically that I put in because it's exactly that. So,
he doesn't even know.
Yeah, he's like, well, I'm just gonna go tackle the quarterback now, I guess.
All right, so play 9. This is a jet sweep that. So this is kind of interesting because I was just raving about how he's so good at keeping his eyes in the backfield and reading what the quarterback's doing. I feel like he was a little too tunnel vision probably on the quarterback. all he has to do is identify that there's a jet sweep coming in the opposite direction. If he sees that jet sweep coming, he knows that he has to get some width right there, and he can't crash the line of scrimmage or crash the backfield so quickly. And because he does that, he allows the jet sweep to go to the edge. I mean, yeah, it's only 4 yards, whatever, but this could have been a loss. This could have been a tackle for loss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely think he could have gotten in there. And the thing is both of these guys are just kind of sitting there. And I don't know if that's by design, where it's, we're just not going to block these guys because he's got the speed to hit the outside. But it is hard from a defensive end position to be able to get up there. Sure. But yeah, I definitely think if it's something that they looked at in film where it's like, hey, they run this jet sweep, watch out for it, get extra depth when you see that guy in motion. Hopefully that would have been something that they worked on. And here he just kind of freezes a little bit.
Yeah.
He almost, the position he puts himself in, kind of that stance, it's almost if he's running it as if it's a read option, which I guess,
it could be.
If the quarterback pulls there, it's looking like a sack.
Play it back, see if it's an RPO.
Maybe it is. I'm gonna do it in slow motion.
Because if they're running routes, that would be a great play design.
Yeah. Looking at
it looks like they're all blocking. It looks like they're all blocking.
Yeah, that's design blocking. I was looking to even see if the guy on the backside maybe is running a route, and that's the only route there. But
no, it looks even that top guy. I was looking at the bottom.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, yeah, that's my only gripe with this play. You're absolutely right. He shouldn't be expected to make that kind of play. Really, what I'm concerned with was his positioning. More than anything, because he could have had better positioning and made it at least more of an opportunity for himself to make that tackle. He really, when you see the way he shot forward, first step trying to get to the quarterback, he took himself out of the play immediately. Yeah. That was my biggest concern.
And when he identifies that motion, even if it is not a handoff to that guy in motion, if you get that extra, 1 foot, 1 yard of depth, it makes a big difference, even if you don't make the tackle too, because then that guy that has the ball has to, go back a little bit and kind of bow around the corner there, and it'll slow the whole play down. So that is true. He definitely could have made more of an impact on it.
Yeah, for sure. So play 10 here is another example of that setting the edge on the run. And this one, I love this one. I thought this one was 10 times better than the first one. It was insane. I saw this play and I was like, all right, 3rd and 2, he's sealed off, play over, first down. He somehow scrapes his way back into this play. He's totally sealed off here, long arms that left shoulder of number 77 on Pitt, and then just disengages, gets all the way back around him and makes this tackle. I don't remember if that actually ended up being a first down. Either way, situationally, what a play that is. The ability to recover from being seemingly out of that play. When you see someone sealed off on a run play like that, you were talking about it last week when you were saying a running back has to read his blockers' backs and, read like the funnel, the way they're like telling you to go. It's obvious that you should be running behind 77 on that play if you're the Pitt running back. Somehow Rousseau comes back and makes that play. So I love this play.
Yeah, and this is another one with the strength of the right arm, where he gets that up into the shoulder pads up here and just kind of is able to stay lower, which is crazy that he this massive dude is able to get lower. But when he does get low like that, he's got power, and he's got good power, especially with that long arm on the shoulder. He could probably throw anybody around pretty easily. But yeah, I was also a really big fan of this. Completely shut down any chance at a cutback, and then also did a good job of clogging up the hole in there as well.
Yeah. Thought it was probably, I think maybe that might have been his best run stopping rep of the plays that we picked out.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
All right, so play 11. This one I thought was interesting. I want to get your take on it because when I watched it, I was like, where's he going? He seemed to just completely take himself out of the play, like right off the snap. He takes himself out of the play, and it doesn't even look like he's reading the O-line. It doesn't look like it's part of the defensive scheme because he's the only one initially going to the right. Everyone else is going, straight rush, and he's seemingly rushing to the right, almost like there's a stunt. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting. He took himself right out of the play because the run went exactly where he was, and he wasn't there.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand what he's doing, to be honest. When I watched this play, I thought the same thing. I was like, "Why the hell is he going down the inside right now?"
It was so weird.
So I don't know if this is he maybe misunderstood the play call and thought it was a stunt, so he went inside. Maybe 99 misunderstood the play call and he was supposed to go outside. There is a blitz. This linebacker here is blitzing, but there's no way that he should have to be responsible for everything going on here. And maybe he just got unlucky because there is, we got a pulling guard, and then a lead blocker here as well. So it definitely was probably bad timing. But yeah, I have no idea what the hell he was doing there. I'm gonna hope that was just a mental mistake and he did the wrong thing, because otherwise, I have no idea what would possess him to go inside like that.
The one positive I do have from that play, if you want to go back, the one positive I have is just the disengagement again. Like, he's totally out of this play, but look him just shed 77 once again. He's right back in the play. Like, there's that relentless motor again every single play. He's out of the play, but he wants to make the tackle. His ability to disengage from blockers is uncanny. That length just allows him to do it when it seems impossible. So even on a bad play, you can find something you want to grasp onto.
Yeah, I agree. And the motor's there. The effort's always there. It's hard to find a play where he's not going to be, in the final shot of the running back on the ground. Even if he didn't make the tackle, he's around. He's in the area. So
yeah. All right, so this is the last play from this game against Pitt, and I marked it down as his best snap from nose tackle. I don't know if he did this in the game for the next game for Virginia that we're about to break down, but pretty much every 3rd and 10, every 3rd and long, Miami switches to a 3-man front and Rousseau's playing nose tackle. I didn't see a lot from him in this game. He was pretty much just getting stymied pretty much at the line of scrimmage on most of those reps, but this was his best rep. You see him getting after it. Like, he's getting that great first step. He's getting 5 yards into the backfield, and then he's disengaging from the double team. And then you see that length again, another shoestring tackle. It's just insane. This guy, his grip strength, his length, all of it. It just, like, you kind of talk about these things in draft season. It's like, oh, look at this guy's long arms. Look at his big hands. Oh, great. This is where it gets applied to the game. Like those kind of plays, it's like, that's where you see it translate onto the field. And it's crazy that you actually see it translate onto the field so many times in his 2019 tape. Just turn on his highlight film. Like, pretty much every single one is a shoestring tackle like that. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah.
And that to me, that's both effort and length. And if he's 6'6", he doesn't make this sack. So I just think that this was the one that I was referring to earlier too. And I was like, this is the most like textbook shoestring. Like, literally all he did was just slap his foot. And the quarterback goes down. So just a freak, honestly. The nickname Groot is so appropriate for just how massive, and he's a tree. Like, he literally is just a tree out on the field.
I mean, did you see Bills Embedded yet?
I did see that. Yeah. When they talked about the picture, like, you can see it and they're making fun of it and they're bringing it up. Like, that's the point. Like, this dude, he's that big. He really is. So after that game, do you have any like key takeaways, any themes from that cut up? I don't know if I have any like themes or anything from it. I think if anything, it's probably just a lot of the times when he's winning because of effort. And it's not necessarily because he's doing anything particularly amazing, except being big, strong, and giving as much effort as he can. All his plays are pure effort. So I don't have an issue with that. With the amount of effort that he's giving and his size, but it'd be nice to every once in a while see a play where it's like, wow, like, look at how his hands were, and look at his footwork on this play. And even in the clips we're about to watch from me, you don't really see that in mine either. So he's got a lot to learn. He's not going to come out and be a guy that is gonna wow you with technique at any point. He might be able to produce just, kind of with what he's got going for him already. But, I don't know if I don't know if we'll see him make any kind of crazy plays anytime soon. How did you feel after, kind of going through it and watching it yourself?
I mean, this is how I felt. He's still growing. That's everything you just said.
Vertically, or
maybe I'll take it. No, but that's really how I felt. Why sums it up pretty much how I felt with that game, and even the Virginia game too. He's still growing. Like, everything we saw from that game, it was great. It was positive stuff. But the fact that we were getting so many positives from things that it's like, we don't even know if this is transferable to the NFL level. Yes, that can be concerning, but that's also reason for hope. Like, when we were breaking down, defensive end players that were going to be available for the Bills at pick 30, we were talking about Jason Owe, and then you start talking about, oh, he's just an athletic freak. He doesn't have a lot of refinement to his game. He doesn't even have any sacks. But if you can get someone that's just that freakish of an athlete, and they show that kind of effort on every play, and you see that they have room to grow, those are the kind of guys that the Bills want to bet on. And they've shown that they're trying to bet on this year because they believe in their coaching staff and their ability to develop talent. And I think Rousseau is a perfect team fit and player fit, vice versa. It works for both sides, because Rousseau, he's going to have time. He's not going to need to contribute right away, but he's more than capable of contributing right away. He just won't be thrown into the fire the way most first-round draft picks typically are, because I think the Bills are a little bit more pragmatic and they're smarter than that. They understand that this guy's going to take a little bit of time, so they're going to put him in situations where he can grow and be the best version of himself. 3rd and 10s on the edge when, someone else is getting most of the attention, like a Jerry Hughes on the edge is getting more attention, and he on the other side is just getting a one-on-one opportunity. And I like him in those situations. So I think the sky's the limit for him with that game. We showed that there's some weaknesses, there's some strength, but there's so much room to grow. And that's what we have to be focused on as Bills fans.
Right. And it's kind of an interesting thing, because we have to make sure that I like Greg Rousseau, but I fully understand that he could be a bust.
Yeah.
And I hope that he's not. And I don't think he will be, because I think he's got a really good attitude and work ethic. So I think he'll be able to learn some of this technique and get better. But he doesn't have those technical skills, so he could be a bust for all we know. We just have to hope that, he can rely on his strengths now and work on the things that he needs to have before he can be a successful NFL edge rusher.
I hope his locker's right next to Mario Addison and Jerry Hughes.
Yeah, me too. I hope what's Washington, the defensive line coach, get him into some kung fu, some karate classes, get his hands going, any way to get those hands quicker with, good reaction time. That's what he needs to be doing, because that's the thing that we're going to see.
Get him back with Aaron Donald and those goddamn cleavers.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe Dane Jackson can make a little bit of a connect there for him. Yeah. All right. Let's take a look at the Virginia game then. These are the clips that I put together, and I like this game. There were a lot of other games that I could have gone from, and I wanted to pick one where his production was pretty good, but he still had some plays where there are things that he needs to work on. And it's even just going through the amount of plays that he didn't have, or the amount of games, that he just didn't have a lot of snaps. There was a lot of games in this season where he had like 12 snaps, 13 snaps. And of course that was early on, before they realized that, oh, this guy's a freak, let's keep him on the field. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of plays early in the season where he just didn't get that many snaps, and he still got 15 and a half sacks. So, pretty crazy. But yeah, this was one where he had a decent amount of reps, and this is the one I want to take a look at. All right, let's start with number one. We got Rousseau at the top of the screen here. Did I play it or not? No, I did. Rousseau at the top of the screen. And this is another one where it's kind of the signature move that we were talking about earlier, where he gets to that depth that he wants to get to. And then once he's there, he disengages and goes and makes the tackle. Another thing is the tracking that you had touched on as well. His ability to, even though he's engaged with this tackle here, he's watching the quarterback the whole time. His eyes are on that quarterback the whole time. And as soon as he cuts up, into the pocket, he disengages and makes the tackle. So what did you see when you were watching this?
I mean, everything you just saw. It's another example of that depth of rush. But to me, this clip, it's just the perfect example to show how his length helps him disengage. It's that perfect like close up and slow-mo version of it where you can just see him right at the point that the quarterback is trying to escape the pocket and make a play. You can see him just push heavy hands right on the shoulder pads, perfect hand placement, just tosses 79 off of him for a quick second, and he's quick enough to just plant his left foot in the ground and make a tackle on quarterback number 3. So I just thought more than anything, this was a great play to show how strong he is with good hand placement. If he can get good hand placement, his length and his heavy hands are going to allow him to win more than not. And it's crazy how much he could win without true pass rush moves and just power and length. So yeah, it's just another example of that. Toss it in, another feather in the cap.
Yeah, and another thing that I like about this play, and I didn't even notice it until right now, honestly, is the difference in his strides when he's gaining depth versus when he's engaged with the tackle. Because when he comes off the line of scrimmage, he takes 2 massive strides, using his length to the best of his ability to get the depth. And as soon as he's engaged, he switches to short, little choppy steps to get that extra strength and power. When he gets pretty low too. I think he could have gotten lower, but he does enough to get that tackle push back. So that was something that I had kind of thought about, where maybe those big strides are going to get him in trouble sometimes. But I'm glad to see that at least on this rep, once he gets engaged, he does short, choppy steps so that he doesn't lose any ground and he can push that tackle back there.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. This one is another one where he wins, but he has no idea what he's doing. He's getting tossed around. 72 handles him pretty well, honestly.
A little bit of a hold there.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I mean, you get away with that at any level if it's nice and tight and inside. So I thought if it was a hold, it was a good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's kind of. It's a pure effort play, really. He's just like, well, I'm going to run in. He's going up the middle. I got to go over there now, and he just works his way over there. So, what were your thoughts on that one?
I mean, it's another effort play. It's crazy. Yeah. This guy just always wants to get towards the ball. I actually meant to say this on the last play, but I'll bring it up here because it's going to apply to a lot of these plays against Virginia. I thought his first step off the snap in this game was so much better than it was against Pitt. I don't know what it was. His first step was explosive in this game. You can see he's like the first one into he's always just, I don't know. He was so good this game, just getting first step right off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that's true. That's something that I didn't even notice, honestly, watching through this. But you're right. That explosion's good, which is, at times it looks like he's moving slow because he's got such big strides and because he's so big. He's moving faster than it looks usually. But even here, he looks fast off the line.
He does.
And that doesn't always happen with his pass rush. Sometimes it looks like he's a little bit sluggish, but he looks quick here. So that definitely is something that's different.
That actually might have to be, that was something I was really concerned with in the Pitt game. It's like him looking sluggish because he has a great motor and he's always trying to get to the ball, but he always looks sluggish because he's so goddamn long. And I think that's something Bills fans are probably going to have to get used to in the first year. We're just going to be like, dude, this guy, like, he's showing no effort. He's so slow. He can't get to the ball. He's giving effort. He just giving effort looks different for every person.
Yes. So, when you're a massive human being, you have to make do. So
yeah.
Oh, I forgot I have another angle on this one.
This is what happens when you don't have all 22.
But this is just a really good angle of him getting bullied and like pretty much losing this sorry, his hands. What is he doing with his hands here, man?
Judge was joking about it on our last air raid hour that he was on. He was like, yeah, he's just slappy hands.
He is. That's exactly.
It's just perfect
around. Yeah. The way I described it was he has Ricky Bobby syndrome, where sometimes he just doesn't know what to do with his hands.
No, he doesn't.
And that's definitely true here. And
just imagine if he cleaned it up, though. Just imagine with all of this raw ability, just being able to win the way he does, and then add pass rush moves and hand placement, hand usage. This dude would be insane. But it's a risk. It's a risk, but it's a risk I'm willing to take.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think maybe, you know, how he keeps his vision on the backfield and on the quarterback too could affect how effective his hands are. Maybe he'll have to focus more on what his hands are doing as opposed to focusing on the quarterback at all times.
Yeah.
You know, obviously you want to focus on the quarterback, but I'm not really sure. I was never a defensive end, so don't quote me on that, anybody. Yeah, this is another one. 3rd and 10. There he is, right in the middle.
Nose tackle.
So they did that. They did it this game too. This one, I didn't like because it was pretty clearly a stunt call where he has to go to the outside and he has the edge there coming to the inside, and he just bumps right into him and almost knocks the guy over. Really. So I just I'm not sure if it was something that it was a bad mesh point. They hadn't practiced it together or something like that. But on plays like that, you need to make sure that if who's going first, it looks like both people think that they want to go first. And you have to know which guy goes in front and which guy goes behind. So that's a communication thing and a knowledge of the playbook type of a thing. But he is so massive that he almost knocks over his own defensive end, which is kind of funny.
I think, this is bottom line. This is a play where you get to understand, you see the context of, this guy, this is his first true year playing the position. Like, these are things you learn on the job. You understand that, one guy has to go in front of the other. Okay, I got to take my time, make sure he gets him first, and then I'll loop around behind him. Yes, that's how a stunt works. But you can't, like, a walkthrough is only going to help you so much. When you're in that game situation, 3rd and 10, get your ears back and go for the quarterback. Like, 3rd and 10, he's probably not thinking so much about that. He's a young player. He just wants to pin his ears back and get to the quarterback. So this is where that inexperience shows a little bit.
Yep.
But hey, ideally, this isn't going to be where he's rushing from for the Bills.
Yes, yeah. But even still, if he's running a stunt where he's going to the inside, we got to make sure we know our assignment and that he knows if he's going first or second. Yeah. So it's a mental error, but yeah, like you said, he's growing in the position. So.
I think that play actually shows the example you were saying when Paulie Crew put in the super chat. That's the stunt, like that kind of action. Yes. Obviously, he's not probably going to be coming from a nose tackle position to go around a tackle,
right?
But it's something like that where an Ed Oliver will go around to a tackle and Rousseau will then be coming on the inside. That's the kind of thing where that play can show it's possible.
Yeah, and the guy on the inside, or the edge who goes to the inside ends up taking up the double team. Rousseau can do that. So, and then if you get Ed in a one-on-one situation, I like Ed in a one-on-one situation. So, yeah. Your audio is lagging a little bit for me. I don't know if that's happening in the stream as well, but.
Oh, I see that. Yep, sorry if my Wi-Fi is going down.
It's all right. You're back. I can hear you good again. Okay. What are we on here? Play 4. This is another long arm. I really like this one. I don't think he ends up making a play. The play, he's backside. But I really like this just because the control that he has over the tackle right there, he has that guy that's his, no trouble, just keeping him off him at that point. He's clean. It's kind of like what he was doing to the tight end against Pitt, just being able to really push him off and control him. So I'm not sure. What did you think about this one?
I mean, I'm glad you put it in here. It's like you look at this play and you're like, why the hell is this play in here? But no, this is a very good example. You said exactly what I had in my notes. Control of the blocker. Like, he's in control in this entire play. He can ragdoll this blocker whenever the hell he wants. He has full control. He's long arming him with one arm, and that's his left arm too. In all the clips that we've shown, it seems like he's been doing it with his right arm, but he does it right here with his left arm. I don't know which dominant arm he is, but either way, I mean, this is just an example of that strength, his ability to just control the guys who are blocking him when it's supposed to be the other way around.
Right. Yeah, length and strength, and it's on full display here. I threw that one in pretty much just because of that, because I thought that was actually a good technique play. He got his hand where it needed to be. He did the long arm and just kept him off. So that was one that I wanted to throw in.
Before we hop into this next play, I see the chat going off about I'll hit these 2 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Chewy Baca says, so tired of getting guys that need on-the-job training. Can we just get guys that are wreckers and go balls to the wall for once? And then Lone Wolf comes in and says, is a player that's that raw worthy of a first-round pick? Usually teams take first-round picks and want them to have immediate impact. Don't shoot me, just a question for thought. But those both go hand in hand right there. So I wanted to get your opinions on that, because personally, I agree with them to an extent. It would be great to get a player in the first round that's an immediate impact kind of player. But every rookie is learning on the job. It's just to what extent is that rookie learning on the job? And I understand that Rousseau probably has more to learn than most rookies because he's new to the position. However, being at pick 30, it's tough to find someone that's going to be immediate impact. Sometimes when you're at pick 30, you're at the end of round 1, you might as well take the swing on the guy that could have been a top 10 pick and they fell for reasons like, oh, they only played 1 year at defensive end. So that's why you take a raw player at 30, because they have the talent where you do a redraft in 3 years, they could have been the 5th overall pick in a redraft. But because of the circumstances, on April 29th, 2021, this guy slipped to 30th overall. So what do you think of that, like raw versus immediate impact kind of thing?
Yeah, I think you said it really well. And when you draft a guy, you want him to be good. You want him to be very good for years. And kind of like, as you were touching on it a little bit there, in like a redraft situation where it's like someone writes, I don't know, NFL.com rates those articles all the time where it's like, if do the redraft, who goes where? And in this situation, he has that kind of a ceiling where it's sure there might have been someone that was there that was a little more polished, had a little bit better technique, and they could have been a bigger contributor in year 1. But they might be so close to their ceiling already to the point where it's like, this guy's never going to be someone that's going to be all pro or go to the Pro Bowl or lead the league in sacks or something like that. Whereas with Rousseau, I think we can see that potential, if nothing else, because he's winning reps without any technique. So if he can learn the technique, he's going to be an absolute menace. So I think it was more of a, and I think Bean and McDermott are always planning for the future too.
Yeah.
They don't want to just win a Super Bowl. They want to win 4. So, you have to build a team that is, I don't know, that has longevity really, that's able to stay
longevity and sustainability. That's what we're building here. We're not trying to win the Super Bowl in 2021. We're trying to be the dynasty that's taking over the AFC East.
Right. But those are good questions, and I like that people are asking those questions because it does come up a lot when it's like, it's a raw prospect. I want this guy's a first-round draft pick. I want him to contribute. So,
no, it's perfectly fine to feel that way.
Yeah, it depends on what you're looking for, really. And I think the Bills were looking more for the future.
Mm-hmm.
We'll play 5. This one, this is just power. I mean, he doesn't. It's nothing in the stat column, but he pushes the tackle into the center of the pocket. I mean, when you look at where the pocket is, this is kind of the pocket all the way around. And you could say this is the back of the pocket because that's normally where, if you're doing a speed rush, you would want to end up. And he pushes him directly pretty much into the center of the pocket, and he forces the quarterback to roll out and throw the ball away eventually. I just thought that was... the tackle even has a guy come and help him, and it doesn't really matter. What'd you think about this one?
Yeah, in my opinion, he's the one that's getting the quarterback off his spot. It's no one else. I mean, yeah, he didn't do anything on this play in terms of stats, but he's the one getting the quarterback to flush out of the pocket like that and make a negative play on 3rd and 5. That was made by Rousseau crashing the pocket. This is totally off the cuff. I didn't really put this together, but I think Rousseau has a bit of speed to power. I didn't realize this, but because we don't call Rousseau a speed rusher. He's not. Right. But my first notes on this was great get off the snap again and absolutely bullies opposing blocker. That means speed to power. That's what he's doing. He's getting off the snap quickly and then turning that momentum into power. And you see him get stymied once the running back comes in and, contributes to the double team. But then you also see him, the positive, he spins out of that and he's relentless. He's trying to make this play.
The effort's
trying to
always
make that play.
there.
Like, he's not making that play, but he's there in case who's that? Perkins makes an unbelievable play and somehow gets back to the line of scrimmage. Rousseau's there. Like, I don't even think he would get to the line of scrimmage because Rousseau is there. Like, most people don't try that hard, honestly. Most players don't. When they're out of the play like that, they don't. They're kind of just jogging to get contain. He's sprinting for contain at all times.
Yeah, it's like he's always got something to prove. I love that
I like that
so much. Okay, what do we got? This is the opposite of what we've been talking about, in my opinion, where he gets control of the tackle. He's being controlled here instead, where the tackle gets his hand up in that shoulder area, and then he just has complete control of him right now. And Rousseau has there's nothing he can do about it because he doesn't understand how to use those hands to get himself back into a good position. You know, he doesn't know to pull the arm down or swat it away, and he's slapping, you know, he's just slapping, and that's all he's really doing. What did you see when you looked at this one?
Yeah, that got into my first note. He just doesn't have a secondary move. Like, when he's stopped like that, he just doesn't have a secondary move. He just keeps trying to scrap forward. And that kind of goes into my positive for this play. As shitty as this rep was in terms of like him having control of the opposing blocker, which he usually does, he still manages to push that line of scrimmage back 3 or 4 yards.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
He's not winning this rep at all right now, but he just pushed back the guard into the offense, into the quarterback's lap. So it's not a good rep, but to see a bad rep like that still have some positives, you know, gives you some hope. But yeah, that's a tough one where you start to see like, yeah, this dude needs some refinement in some pass rush areas. Cause he's just slappy. Like, what's he doing right now with his hands?
Yeah.
He's just like,
it's like he's not even trying.
Me.
I mean, really, all you have to do is grab the dude's tricep and push his arm up off your shoulder.
He's slapping at it.
It's really hard to do anything in a situation like that. But yeah, just a little slappy and getting controlled. And I really, even though the tackle moves back a little bit, it still seems to me like the tackle just has complete control. He's like, yeah, you can push me back a couple yards. I don't care. You're not going to get to the quarterback. So, yeah, that was kind of the biggest negative. One of the bigger negative plays that I saw in this one,
for sure.
At least. Yeah. On this play, it's very quick. There's really not much to watch except for Greg Rousseau just burying the pulling guard. I mean, you got Rousseau at the top of the screen, and he comes around and sees that guard and he puts the guy on the ground. He shoulders him, and that's pretty much it. When that guard had a full head of steam, and good first step here again. You know, he's not super fast off the line, but he's ready and reading, and I think that's why he was able to identify that pulling guard fast enough to be able to go and just hit him right out of the way, pretty much.
I'm so happy you packaged this clip and delivered it the way you just did, because when you sent it my way and I saw this, I was like, why is this clip in here? What's Clay trying to prove right here? And I watched it a couple times back, and I'm like, oh, he just absolutely obliterated that pulling guard. That's what he was trying to show. That's literally all it is in this play. It's just trying to show, like, he just shrugs off that pulling guard like it's nothing. That dude's on the ground, and Rousseau's once again showing his effort trying to get back into the play after he just
even though he's on the backside.
He's on the backside, nowhere
behind the line of scrimmage. Like, he's not gonna get there. But I don't know if this was a design. I don't know if this was a design QB keep either. Just watching this play call, you got two pullers, and I don't know if I think it is maybe an RP. It looks like it's an RPO. You got guys running routes, and I think it's a Perkins choice. It's a good play by Perkins.
That's I like this play call a lot.
I do. I also really like that play call. And Perkins executes it very well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the only reason I want to put this in here. I just like that Greg Rousseau pretty much just hit him and is like, all right, cool. What's next? Let's see here. This is another. I think this is another type of it's not a contain, which is the one thing that I would criticize about this play, even though I think he did make a pretty good play, is he doesn't do a good job of attacking the outside shoulder here, and he gets held in a little bit too close to the center of the field here. I would like him to get a little bit more to the outside shoulder here on this one, but engage, press, tackle, and you know, length once again. He's all the fully extended and just gets a foot. So, you know, how'd you feel about this one?
It's another one, feather in the cap. No, my first thoughts on this one was just his initial push. I didn't see what you were seeing because I just hindsight bias. I saw him make the play. So I was like, oh, I don't need anything more. But you're right. He could have been in better position. What I saw the first time through was just a great initial push, heavy hands, reestablishing that line of scrimmage, pushes that tackle back like 2 yards. And then that ability to stack and shed again because of that length. He's stacking that blocker after reestablishing the line of scrimmage. A lot of times you see a stack and shed happen at the line of scrimmage. He's pushing the guy back 2 yards, holds him, anchors, sheds it, and then dives and uses his length to make yet another shoestring tackle. Yes, like you said, it could have been a little bit better, but it's those traits. It's those traits that you're buying this for, because what you're saying, like optimizing this play to get on that outside shoulder a bit more, that's coachable. That's coachable. Right. The length, the traits, the ability to stack and shed a blocker like that. Yeah, that's coached and learned, but that's a much steeper learning curve than, hey, get on the outside shoulder.
Right.
That's just like you tell a guy once and it's like, okay, I'll do that next time. Stack and shed, it's like that's years of repetition and practicing and learning how you can do it with your body and your physical frame. This dude has it right off the bat. So yeah, just the ball of clay that this guy's going to be. You could hear it in that Bills Embedded clip. Like they were thrilled to get him in the room. They are thrilled to just,
I mean, Eric Washington said it was one of the best interviews he's ever had, with a rookie.
That gets into, I saw Richard Rush's comment like a while back. I didn't click it because we were talking about something else, but he was saying this guy won't bust because he's got a mindset like Josh Allen. And that's what I learned from Bills Embedded. I was a little iffy on the Rousseau pick because it's like, oh, we're getting a guy from Miami. He's probably like a partier. He's not focused on football, this. No, this guy's football first. Like this guy's football first, and he's a good human being. When you mix those two things together, like I'm going to bet on this guy's development and his ability to grow as a player, which is similar to the Josh Allen kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think, you know, McDermott and Bean, they draft character guys, and they have a type. Not only guys that are 6'8", but guys that are 6'8" and have good character. And I think that this guy is like a Buffalo Bill in his character already. He graduated high school early to go play college football. So, or, what do you want? The guy, he's super smart. He's dedicated. And I love the attitude. And that was something that, from that Embedded, we kind of learned a lot more about. Here we are again, 3rd and 10. This one I thought was really cool. Let's just watch through it real quick. I mean, the pure power that he's driving back a double team. Basically, he's driving back the center and the guard at the same time. He just splits the difference between them, and he pushes them all the way back. I don't know if that's what got Perkins out of the pocket or not. He had kind of an edge rusher coming.
It's a 3-man front. There's going to be a lot of scrambling lanes.
Yeah. But I don't have any problem with the fact that he scrambled away, but also another effort play. He pushes back this double team, and once he sees the QB leave, he goes and chases him, and he's QB hunting like Basham. And I just thought it was a really good effort play, and I like the fact that he was actually able to drive back the double team this time. Yeah, no,
I in my notes I said best nose tackle wrap of all of the clips we've shown. Period. Full stop. This is the best nose tackle clip because you're pushing back a double team 3 yards like that, and he was playing at 265 pounds at the time. Like that's impressive as hell. And then of course, like you touched on, the motor, the relentless motor coming back and making that play and really honestly lays the wood on him. Like even though momentum isn't going in the way of really damaging Perkins on that play, but like he really does hit him hard despite running in the same direction as him.
Yeah, lands on top of him, which
Yeah.
I love. I love it when big guys tackle with the intention to land on top of you. I know that's something that the Bills DB coaches teach.
I was
is land
literally
on top of
just
the
going
guy.
to touch that. Have you seen that all 22 breakdown with Trey
Yes,
White?
I love that.
If you haven't, Trey White talks about this. He says their DB coaches say when you're breaking up a pass, when you're doing some sort of pass breakup, you want to land on that wide receiver and make them feel you. Like these kind of things are thought about. They want to be physical. And honestly, I think that's a big trend with how they drafted. They're building a bully. They're trying to build a team that's going to beat you up. They're building their identity on defense.
Richard, thank you for this. This makes it even more impressive that he's driving back this double team. He's 240 pounds. That is incredible. How is he?
Even if we're splitting the difference between what Richard is saying at 240, 245 and my 260, 265, even if it's 250, 255, all of this is impressive as hell.
Yeah. I mean, I know people are saying bust in the chat, and we touched on the fact that he could. But his ceiling is so high. He's so athletic. I mean, he's so young. We said all these things about Edmonds too, and people are still upset about Edmonds, but
that's why you get the 5th-year option on a guy like Rousseau, and you don't trade back to go get Rousseau.
Yeah, honestly,
these are the kind of things you got to be patient on this development.
This play is 100% effort and 0% technique. This is the textbook definition, in my opinion, of I'm going to win without having any idea what I'm doing. I can't help but laugh anytime I watch this play because it's like he's running through traffic. Like he's the ball carrier and he's running through traffic. I mean, he touches a little bit, but he's getting double teamed. Now he's fighting through traffic and his guy falls down and now he goes and causes a fumble, but way back behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, it's just a crazy play. I don't know. What did you kind of see the same thing?
Yeah, no, because he gets that same kind of treatment where he goes at the tackle and he's trying to bull rush the tackle. Then he gets stymied when the running back comes in to add on to that double team. But I really liked his relentlessness trying to like scrap through that double team because he did it really well. He honestly did. That was probably his best showing of technique, in all honesty. Just that split moment of him splitting that double team. Like that hand usage right there, swimming over the running back's head.
Over a little bit. You're right.
And like that's a very small, like splitting hairs sample size kind of thing.
Yeah, but he's like, oh wait, hold on, I gotta get past that guy.
And he does it. He does it. But that's part of the relentless motor. That really, this whole play is relentless motor. You're right. It's 0% technique, but like that one shred, that millisecond of this play was the only technique.
Because 1% technique. But as the effort is incredible, strength and size, and I don't know how you could be mad watching this play, because and say that he's gonna be a bust. Well, he just made a tackle without doing anything, without any technique. So I don't know what you want from the guy. And then this is my last play, and it's just another pure power play. I mean, it's another one that doesn't show up in the stat book, but he gets back so fast. Where I think this is probably another speed to power type of thing, and it's almost a speed rush, really. He almost gets back and gets the ball out of Perkins' hands too, and that length comes into play there. I don't know if he didn't. It's hard to tell without the all 22. I would like to see the angle behind, or even in front would have been fine. But I don't know if he was just a little bit too far away, maybe, or he didn't get his hand out soon enough. But these are the types of plays where if he gets that close, he can just reach out and swat the ball away or hit the quarterback's arm and cause it to fly, straight up in the air. So I just thought that was. I think this is probably his. I don't even know. What did you think about this one? Did you think this was more of a power rush or a speed rush, or how'd you feel about kind of his technique on it?
Initially, I felt like it was a power rush, but after me saying that it was speed to power in that earlier rep, I actually think this is another speed to power, like you said, because in my notes, I said great first step in order, great first step, then heavy hands. Translation, speed to power. So I really think this is another illustration of that. And then you see his length once again. I mean, I don't know if he actually had a pass deflection on this play.
He actually, yeah. Now that I'm looking at it, it was a really bad pass. I didn't even look at where the ball went, but it was a really bad pass. So maybe he did get a deflection here.
That was my assumption. My assumption was he got a hand in there and he deflected his arm, something like that.
There's a linebacker too that went up and he might have gotten a piece of it. But I do think he had a pass deflection in the stat column in this game. This could have been it because I don't remember if I saw another one anywhere.
Either way, it's a great example. That's probably one of his like really better pass rushes off the edge because you can actually see him kind of like getting around the edge a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I really like this rep. It was a perfect rep to end it off with, honestly.
Yeah, and this, it's late in the game at this point.
Yeah, it's a crucial moment.
Yeah, exactly. This is an important play that he's going into, and I think as we got closer to the end of the game in this one, he got more powerful, more amped up, and he was playing with an even higher motor from what I could tell throughout the game and as it came to a close. So, yeah.
Oh boy,
any specific thoughts that came through your head as you were watching that one?
Well, my first thought here is we might not be live anymore.
What?
Yeah, check the chat. Look at this. Apparently, YouTube gave us the boot. I don't know if this replay goes back up after that.
Interesting. Oh, no. We did get kicked.
Everyone in the chat would be funny if they're still talking.
And we certainly are. Huh.
I don't know what happens. Like, would this go back up on the replay? Or does the replay only show us, is it only going to air what YouTube had live?
I have no idea. I don't understand. It might have been, I don't know what it could have been. I'm going to end the broadcast, though.